there's a lot going on in this packet. That's been my thing lately. Been creating packets for some upcoming workshops, and I like the technique of just collecting images that are I'm attracted to and I believe could make something very absurd and interesting. I have several focal points going on, which I really strive for when I'm choosing my ephemera before I build a collage. I think it's important to have several focal points because it gives you options, along with ancillary stuff that could turn into a focal point or just support the focal point. There's a lot of hands in these images. I like that. I could do something with that. I was looking at this in particular and this image and wondering if I might be able to do something with this. I'm not sure. And it's a minimal type of palette here. I'm thinking about minimal palettes lately, limited palettes. Got some beautiful monochromatic black and whites. Even here in this ad, we have some black and white going on. I also have off to the side, and I'll bring it into the picture frame now because I'm not sure if it will fit into my collages, but I have some empty incense boxes. We have a lot of mosquitoes around here, so whenever I sit outside, I need to burn some incense, and it has protected me well. And I found some really cool imagery on them too. So let's see what's going to happen. I also have leftover from, I believe it was Disembodied. I'll show you that collage right here. I thought I was going to use these pieces for Disembodied. I didn't. They're just obviously circular cuts and they came from a mailer. I thought I was going to do a mailer challenge and it was actually a mail fail. Terrible. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. In any case, I'm going to go ahead and get started and maybe do some cutting as I continue thinking. This is where composition gets a little tricky. I'm playing with a lot of hands because obviously hands played a major role in choosing this different ephemera. And you got to be careful of something like this because it can take from your focal point, and does your focal point make sense? Now I'm doing this and I'm kind of liking the way this is looking as well. You may want to stick with the hands. And there's also the issue of numbers. How many hands do we have going on? Well, we certainly have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you can include 6 because there's her hand here. And by the way, I think this is Cher from like the early 70s. I didn't pay much attention when I was ripping the magazine apart. And I'm not usually big on using celebrities in my images, just not because of copyright or anything like that. It's just me. It's just a personal thing. So we'll see. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with her face. I love this. I think this was a Warhol painting, something I cut from obviously a magazine, but from like an interior design magazine. These little orbs I got from an Amazon catalog. So you never know what is going to show up in your mail, and you may be surprised. I love the lips and the eye. The eye's great. The lips have a problem with that little lipstick applicator. I can figure something out. The question is, what do I want to do with the face? I was playing with perhaps the eye. I think that looks cool. The only reason I'm reluctant is because I've been using eye images, cycloptic images. Is that a word? I'll let you know below. Is cycloptic a word? I use a lot of eyes, and eyes are cool. We love eyes, don't we? Windows to the soul, and lips as well. I like this. I'm really liking this. But I love the deepness of this red and how it contrasts so well with the black and white. And then I wanted this maybe as a background. Maybe these orbs. You see? Now we can hide that little applicator behind an orb. And just have them cascading down, maybe? Somehow. This is a partial background. Now remember, I put them all into a cup so I can control them. I have these from the mailer, and it was like a little QR code. I thought that was kind of cute. I don't want to get crazy with this. This kind of harkens back to my scrapbooking days, and if I got trapped with a design, I would just go ahead and throw a lot of superfluous little things that had nothing to do with anything on it into the image. And that was for scrapbooking. I sometimes resort to it here. I don't know if I want to do that because then we have a lot of components going on and it just might lose interest. But what is good is that we have the focal point and we have some ancillary focal points going on. I do like this hand, and I think it might go well with these lips. We'll do some more fussy cutting. And I need to decide, I was even wondering about her dress. Should I do anything with her dress? As in cut it out and give her a new one? Just because? I have this. I'm just looking at this right now. Her dress is cool. There's nothing wrong with it. Just, I like to change things up. I really like altering things as much as I possibly can. So those hands actually don't look too bad. I have another one from that same image. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. So usually what I do here, I can do just a little bit of a fussy cut right here with the scissors. And then I can decide later on if I want to commit and then come back and do more fussy cutting to set it free and use it in the image. I do like fussy cuts. The only problem is if I do a fussy cut and I don't use it in my collage, I have to save it in a safe place because it's now delicate. It doesn't have the same tensile strength that it did when I found it embedded in a page because I did all of this very delicate cutting. So I need to make sure it is safe. I need to make sure it doesn't get bent or scrunched up because it's susceptible to that when you have delicate little areas like this. That's liable to get folded and crushed and you don't want that. Although I gotta admit, this one, it slipped out of my packets and it landed on the dining room floor and it was safe and I picked it up and saved it from cats and dirt and everything else. So maybe it deserves to be in this collage today. I'm gonna keep cutting. You know what? I'm thinking also maybe using this color for the hair cascading down. I'm probably going to give her a haircut, but I might use these colors because they're related to these hands. These hands, although they're black and white, came from this ad. So there is very low levels of each color in these hands, even though they're monochromatic. They all belong together. It's weird how that works out. So I might do that. In any case, I'm going to go back to cutting. have arrived at. I believe I'm going to abandon the advertisement color orbs that I made, only because I just don't feel that they're very interesting. And I'm kind of treading in dangerous territory here in regards to composition. There's a lot of hands and there's a lot of orbs, and we have only one focal point. So it's starting to look a little busy. I decided to go with the eye, and I love how the eye looks with one of the orbs in the middle and this hand holding it. So I am happy with that, and I think that's going to stay as part of the composition. I do like the black and white hands, but I am feeling that there are a lot of hands in this image. I'm not going to necessarily use a white background. I'm just going to put it on a white background so it's easier to see as I'm working here. So all of these hands, they're kind of making, it is a little busy with all of these hands. And we have a total now of 7. And remember, what we like to do, what we try to do in composition is do odd numbers, because for some reason that works. It's just more pleasing to our eye. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I gotta include that hand also. I'm thinking of maybe taking out 2 hands. I like this one here because it offers really good balance. I do like this one here. I'm going to just set it off to the side while I think. This one, I want to hide that little bit on his index finger. It just, it might border on being a bit obscene because it looks like he's pinching her, and it's just I don't mean anything by it. I'm certainly not trying to offend, but just in case. I like this. Yeah, this one's definitely going to stay, but I want the dress to be tucked behind the eye. So I may just need to be like this. And then with the orbs, have something of a cascading, it's like a teardrop feel to this, a waterfall maybe. But doing this, it just feels like it's busy. And I'm not sure if I want busy. And then I was thinking about, scattering these orbs everywhere. That's way too busy for me. So I'm not sure. It may be a case I need to walk away from it for a little while and decide later. I'm going to take this away just to see. Okay, that does offer a little bit better balance. Although I really liked the hand there. This might be good. Especially at the top there. Might be good. Take this away. It's almost planetary, and I like that. I may need to reflect on how we have the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. So, I don't know, it might be something I do. I've never really done anything too planetary. And I don't know if I want that many orbs going on. I do like the idea of it kind of dropping down like tears. I think it may be a case I need to think about it, and I also need to consider background. I can always do the watercolor background. I can put it into Photoshop and give it a solid background, or I can hunt something up around the studio and determine if that'll be more interesting. I don't want anything that's going to be terribly distracting because there's a lot going on with the, okay, we have 5 hands now, I believe. Because I am including that one. There's just a lot of hands going on. And then remember remember the incense box? I thought I was going to use it. So I'm going to say that for another collage. And this, I left it out because there's just not enough contrast because of her black and white. You see, it's just kind of hard to see. That kind of looks cool, but it's not what it's about. So yeah, I think part of my remedy here, my suggestion is to myself, let's sleep on it or just walk away from it for a minute and maybe make a decision later. We could do this. We don't necessarily have to use both these hands because they're in the same ad. They belong together. Don't have to. Or there's this. Okay, so yeah, this is when we play. So there's this. We could keep these two hands. They're a little smaller, so they have an interesting balance. Take away this hand. Let me switch it up just a little bit. So I like that. I did a lot of cutting between the fingers because I wanted to have that kind of tucking going on. Take this away. Oh no, yeah. I'm gonna give it a little break and see what happens later. I am glad I slept on this because the perspective was way different the next morning. And I am doing something I don't normally do, which is using like a pre-patterned, pre-made piece of paper that was specifically created for this very purpose. Usually I like to use unconventional materials for my collages, something from a book or a magazine that was never meant to be used as an art piece. But I had some, like I said, pre-made patterns, mixed media packet. This stuff's so cool. I normally stay away from it though, but today I really felt this needed just a little something more. So I went back to the eye as well as the mouth, which gives it more of a human feeling to it. I'm going to stay with the 3 monochromatic hands, well 4 if you want to include that one, but it'll be fine. And I'm going to add these orbs, obviously. I believe that's also going to be the name of it. I was going to call it something like different orbits or orbits. I'm not sure if I have a collage by that name. I'll double check my list. So I'm going to go ahead, finish it up, put it on this new background, and give you a closer look at it. And if that is the case, then I bid you adieu and I thank you for joining me on this collage journey, and I will see you in the next video.